clock's ticking on the Titan. I need eyes on board before she's lost forever to the deep blue. Now, there's a number of variables at play. We don't know who attacked them or if they'll be back. Can't afford any surprises. I'll make room for any survivors.
Hej. I dag der får I lov til at blive forkælet med et Battlefield 4-indslag. Det var, da vi var til E3 og snakke med den kære Patrick Bach fra DICE-teamet. Gå tilbage og se del 1, hvis ikke I allerede har set det. Det er altså del 2, som man siger på espanol. Der skal snakkes om next gen, multiplayer, eSport, hvad der egentlig kommer til at foregå i den forstand, og det får du lige her.
Take cover!
To talk about next-gen consoles, how hard is it choosing where to tweak in a game like Battlefield and your franchise? Because I guess you have to choose at some point to do this and that.
Yeah. It's quite easy actually. You know, we know exactly what the core experience should be, and for us that's 64 players. The better frame rate is of course important. So for next-gen consoles, we go 64 players and 60 FPS at its core. So we want the full classic PC experience now for people playing in their sofa back home, which we are extremely excited about. And then of course it's up to what we can cram out of the consoles. The consoles are not final yet. We are not done with our game, so we can probably optimize and tweak our game until last minute and get the most out of both consoles.
In the multiplayer, it seems as if some games really want to try to get into the whole esports kind of feel, but nobody really does it. And like the whole FPS scene of the more hardcore esports segment is just lying there, waiting to be conquered, if you will. Is that something that you could see Battlefield doing in any way, or?
People are already using Battlefield as a competitive game, and of course we want to support that. And some of the small things we're doing big and small things. We increased the squad size to 5, for instance, because there are a lot of competitive teams playing 5 versus 5. We're adding spectator mode back. You can see it on the show floor. You can see it on our webcast. We're actually using our spectator mode to broadcast the show here from E3. And that will of course be something that you could use in competitive gaming.
If you should just briefly explain what to you is a good shooter experience. I know it's a broad question.
Yeah, that's a very broad question. Well, first of all, it needs to feel right when you just walk around alone, aiming your gun, running, jumping, all of that. That's the core experience. And then on top of that, you need to have a well-balanced weapon. When you meet enemies and you have a proper firefight, that needs to feel great. And it can't be first bullet wins, because that wouldn't be a fun game. And then on top of that, we think it's important to spice things up a little by adding vehicles and bigger toys to play with. And then of course, if you don't have destruction in the game at all, you will have a pretty stale environment, and the game turns quite boring after a while because it gets very repetitive. Everything's the same every round, every minute you play. So for us, that's very, very important for a shooter, that you can actually affect the world around you. So you have this dynamic environment that players, you and the enemies, can actually use that to their advantages.
It seems as if a lot of people already felt that Battlefield 3 was a really good game and it could have continued, let's say, one more year. Do you see Battlefield 4 as maybe a game that could continue for more than 1 year until it got like a new upgrade, or?
I don't know, it's hard to say. For us, we felt that it was very important when we finished BF3 to take a deep look. That was the first time we used the Frostbite 2 engine, and we knew that there are some things here we need to fix, we need to go deeper, and we need to find more things to innovate in. So building Battlefield 4 for us was a very natural step. There were so many things that we wanted to do better, and we couldn't just add as DLC. You have to rebuild the core of the game. So to us, it felt very, very natural.
You're getting almost littered in awards, and we just talked briefly about awards here at E3. How does it feel? It must feel good to still be recognized in this scale.
Yes, absolutely. We're extremely happy that people actually see what we're doing, even though we've been around for some time. And you could argue that, it's just Battlefield. It's another Battlefield. What could you possibly come up with? But when people actually pick up on all the things that we at the studio feel are really, really cool things, big and small, and you get awards like Best in Show awards, Best Multiplayer award, Best Shooter awards, that of course feels extremely positive. We get really happy because sometimes you forget about your game as you're building it, because you kind of get, I wouldn't say you get bored with it, but you get used to it, and you're just playing it and having fun in it. And then when you go back to Battlefield 3, it feels like, oh, this feels very own. And then when people hear the show floor actually play the game and say that themselves and say that, you know what, this is really, really good, then you actually feel quite proud.
Det var altså alt, hvad den kære Patrick havde at sige til os i denne her omgang. Spillet har udgivelse 31. oktober. PC, PS3, Xbox og selvfølgelig også Xbox One og PS4 på et senere tidspunkt. Skriv, hvad I synes lige hernede under. Glæder jer til Battlefield 4.